contractor. Patty, this is yours now. Thank
Oh,
you.
thank you, Mary. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining. Happy New Year. I just want to introduce myself. My name is Betty Lau. I've been working on this industry for approximately 35 years. And started in the commercial side and then went into the residential side. I interested in the residential side because I'm more personal with the people and loving having conversations with the people to find out more about them and how they want the renovations done. I am a mother of 3, and since they're tiny, they've grown up as knowing the industry, so they also know how to hire and to look at what's right and wrong for a contractor. So the next slide. The history is, like I said, 38 years with experience. I started with All Women Contractors, and then it grew as to All Women Contractors +1 for equality, making sure, even though I've hired men as well, but now I had to promote that as well. So it turned into All Women Contractors +1. That made up for the men. So I've taught for Habitat for Humanity for several years in Toronto. I'm started to open up a school as well to teach women. It's a traveling school, and that's been approved through the Ministry of Trades. Been on TV programs as well, HGTV, Slice TV, radio shows, and lots of magazines and about 75 billboards around across the city. Thank you. So how do we know you need help? When you're overwhelmed and stressed about the project and you don't know which way to go. You're not familiar with any of the power tools or how to work it. You're not confident enough. When you're not confident enough to know how to start or to finish the job and you needing some guidance, or you're just overwhelmed that you need to hire somebody. So, or in timing, you don't have, you can't do it yourself because of timing, your schedule, your day-to-day schedule. Multitasking issues where you can't have your own lifestyle and then juggling also a renovation depending on how large your job is. The next slide, please. Now the contractor versus general contractor, as you can see, is the handyman is jack of all trades. They can do multiple trades, but they don't have a specific, doesn't specialize in any of the trades. Contractors usually work on their own, specializing in one trade. And they had usually a certification of some sort, depending on the trade. General contractor basically controls all of the trades, usually work with the sub-trade contractors, specializing in or organizing multiple trades and trades that are responsible for that, so they don't make any mistakes. So on top of their project managers, basically. Next, please. How to hire the contractor is to set up an appointment with the selected contractors to interview. Have a few of them to have it lined up so then you can compare apple to apple. Make sure you ask the right questions and have a list prepared. What do they specialize in? How many years have they been in business? Do they have any pictures that you can refer to the quality of work that they've done? Any references from their other clients that they've done work with? And maybe even locations if you want to go and visit, if that's even possible, that they can set that up for you, just to make sure they're legit. get referrals by your close friends and family. That's the best thing, but you got to make sure that their personalities and your personality actually works well hand in hand. It's like a marriage, unfortunately. So keeping in mind that because the referrals doesn't mean that they are the right match for you. So you got to feel your your instincts, making sure that they are the right one. The next one, please. Do your research on the contractors, Better Business Bureau, but that doesn't mean if there's a bad report on them that they are necessarily bad. You just confront the contractor that you're thinking of hiring, and you ask them how did they handle that situation to have this problem reported. So keeping that in mind, if you require a permit or architects drawings, would this contractor be able to handle that for you, and what the costs are, if it's going to fall in within your budget. Making sure they have WSIB and liability, just in case something happens on your site. Could be the possibility that it is the homeowner's property is not cleaned up properly or anything like that. If it's going to be one of the causes that will cause a problem down the road. Do the contractors listen to you? That is a major thing. Do they have their own thoughts and views of how the project looks like versus what you think, how you want it? Are they accommodating to what your needs are? That is a big communication problem that usually arises in projects. If you want, next slide, please. Do the contractors get along with you? It goes hand in hand. Their sense of humor, the way they talk to you. They talk to you kind of like a lawyer, in gibberish where you don't really understand. Well, they talk to you with such a way that you will understand what they're trying to convey to you in regards to explaining your project and how things are done. So is the contractor patient when explaining things, or are they very short? So depends on your tolerance. That is really important, and how these contractors, approach you. How long will it take for the contractor to provide the estimate, the pictures, all of the information that you're requesting from him? That will give you an idea as how they will project your project. If there's going to be delays or any of that, that could be possible. So do you feel that there's any integrity, punctuality, or any respect towards you? That takes a huge role in it as well. So respect falls in place with how are they going to respect your home when they do the renovation. If they're going to keep it nice and tidy after they leave as though they were never there, or if they're going to come in and they're going to leave track marks all over your house, or dust, or they don't clean up after themselves. So it makes a huge difference in how stressful it will be for your renovation. Next slide, please. What does the general contractor handle? So the list is do they orchestrate all the trades and needs and complete your projects in timely manner and within budget? Is it going to be new construction? Do they take care of electrical, plumbing, flooring, all what I've mentioned on the list here? If they do not do that, then those are something that you have to entertain to outsource yourself, or you just find another contractor, general contractor, that can handle all those things that you need for your projects. Next, please. Financing and budget is the biggest thing, of course. You should plan very well on how much you have that you can actually allocate to your project. Next slide. So saving your time and money, your purchases, your products, is your contractor be able to be flexible for you? So would you be able to save money by getting all your materials on your own and supplying all that, outsourcing that? That way, all the materials there, all he can provide is basically your labor. That would probably save you a whole lot more money if you outsourced all of your materials and enough materials. All you needed from the contractor is basically the square footage, how much materials you actually do need. So planning your finishes, that's part of it. Planning, again, your materials, your drawings, if you need any drawings, having meetings, make sure everybody's on the same page. Getting all your locates if you're doing exterior work. So calling the city to make sure they mark all the necessary information that the contractor needs to know before digging. And needing to know all that information before you make that final decision of picking your contractor. Next, please.
Betty, before you move on,
Yes.
it sometimes is nice that you can buy the material if you know what you're looking to buy and supply it for the contractors. However, if you don't, you don't have much prior knowledge or you don't know where to source it to get a cheaper rate, how do you get, do you compare some more quotes, or how do you get an idea, so that you feel like you're not take advantage of?
So what you would be doing is doing part of your research is to looking in your flyers, looking in your Home Depot, Lowe's, all the major box stores, even the smaller ones, privately owned. So then you're shopping around, window shopping. So you know what the price ranges are, and you'll also get an idea of what your finishes would be when you pick them. So you can also ask your contractor, where would you go, do they have any suppliers that they go to purchase those products that they can actually go and look at? So then when you go there, you can also look at the pricing as well. That's how I would attack that part.
Yeah, so it's a planning in advance.
That is a key thing, is planning prior to actually having hired the contractor. You need to do that research prior so you know what is going on. The more
And
knowledge
also,
you have, the better.
yeah, sorry to cut you off, but
Sure.
sometimes it could be quite nice to have some magazine to cut up what you're looking for, and like make a storyboard type of thing, like show the contractor what your vision, because sometimes my way and your way will be slightly different, and it might be something for looking like your haircut. You give someone to have a look what they're looking for.
That's right. Yeah, so it goes both ways. So you're doing the research on your end, then you share that information so everybody's on the same page. More clarity for both ends.
Great, thank you for explaining that. I'm going to move the next slide.
Sure. So once you receive the contract, the estimates for review, making sure that you are comparing apple to apple. You must compare apple to apple, because then the estimates will be a huge range in price. So be sure that they're quoting all on the same stuff. Okay. Now, once you've done that, as you review your estimate, you want to make sure that you add an extra 10% at least as a cushion, as for mishaps or stuff that's been missed. Because you always have to have that conversation with the contractor, make sure that everything's on time, everything's going smoothly. And if anything does come up, that conversation needs to be had prior to moving forward. Never pick the lowest estimate. You'll always end up hiring another contractor to fix the mistakes that the lower contractor price contractor that you've picked, and they'll end up costing you a whole lot more in most cases.
Yes, Becky, I found out that sometimes lower one, you have to understand how close they are. That might be they are lower, but they are only like $5 lower than other people.
Yeah.
So you have to think about it. But then on the other hand, I think sometimes how punctual they come and contact you, but how promptly they come to contact you. Maybe they take you 2-3 weeks before they come back, and then that will have my red flag on, because I feel like they don't really need my business. Maybe they're
Yeah.
very busy and other stuff.
Yes, and that was what I mentioned earlier, is to how quickly they get your information that you requested from the, to the contractor, getting your estimates, the pictures, the referrals, that type of thing. So that gives you an idea as how quickly they move on things. No, that's not, the Bible, but it is, it gives you an idea as how efficient they are.
Yep. Right. Ladies, make sure you turn off your speaker so that we can move on, so then we can all hear Becky. This is very interesting, very informative information.
So just make sure that you are comparing apple to apple. And this is where, even if you get a lower estimate, you may possibly, they may have possibly missed a big portion of the estimate, if there is such a big gap in the pricing. Okay, so keep in mind of that. Now, I think we covered, let's see. So also the payment structure. Usually there's a flexibility in the payment structure, but the typical is the 10% hold down, and that's the start date, and another percentage that is given, before or on the start date. So this is all negotiable. It's all on how comfortable you are and if they are flexible enough for you. Okay, so also is another big issue or concern I would stress on is making sure the contractor, you have their full contact information, because if they have a PO number, box number, they don't have an office. This is a problem where you can't go to their store or go to their home, or if there's an issue, because there's a lot of unfortunately flybys where they just disappear with your deposits. So you want to make sure that you have any contact, a lot of contact information, where you can find them and how to get reach of them when something comes up. Next one. Ta-da! So hopefully by then you'll have your project all done, and you've hired your contractor, and your communication, you're still friends. They're not sleeping on your couch, and you're all good.
I found out that sometime when we talk about it early on, Becky, about going to have references, people really didn't think about references. They just got a name and, oh, you done this. I feel like, myself, I've done a couple of jobs on my for my house, need some contractors come in, and I actually call the people. I just call and I said, can I talk to them, and then talk to them how they feel, and would they recommend me again, to other people, so to see how the previous people use this contractor, how they reviewed it. So
yes, for sure. You when they give you the referrals, just don't accept the referrals as you see it. You definitely follow up and follow through by calling these clients that they supposedly had. They could be friends and family of theirs own, right? So you make sure that you get in the referral their address, their name, their phone number, so you can have a conversation with the clients that they had done work for. Then you can have all these questions for that client, possibly even ask them, you know, how did they feel working with them? Did they talk to you respectfully? Were they clean? Were they on time? Did they keep on jumping the, you know, the numbers up on your original estimate, you know, to keep your budget down, you know, those type of things. So, or even if they even would consider to have you in their home to even look at the projects that they've done, hopefully that's related to the one that you have or the one that you want to get done for yourself. So it's comparable.
Yes, I actually, I personally went to visit some property. I want to do a basement
Mhm.
before, and I actually went round. I said, "Can I see the client that you have done last time, the basement?" And I spoke to them, and they, if they don't let me in, and another red flag. I would, you know, I'm thinking, oh, what's wrong? What are they hiding?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So you want to have enough referrals there. Typically, the contractor would call their clients to give them heads up and let them know that possibly a new client will be calling them to get information. They usually say yes or no. So by the time you get to them, they already know that that's why you're calling. So they are aware that that's what you'll be asking questions about and possibly asking for a visit.
Yes. If you look at um one of the ladies put it down that she seems to have a bad experience on, you know, with the contractor payment. So you got to be, if you look at the chatbot, Betty is one of the ladies having Jacqueline have very bad experience. I feel sorry for her. And sometimes they always have bad eggs in the industry, and not always, but we're trying to use put all the procedure and thinking and so that we won't prevent it. And unfortunately, Jacqueline have the bad experience. Yes, it is quite yeah, important. You have Patty tell us a lot of information how to make sure that we make sure they are accountable, make sure they have the address, and make sure they have the officers or people you can talk to. They actually have the real person that went to visit the site, and that was important.
Right.
Thank you, Patty.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's the other thing is that you want to make sure is when they're charging you taxes and stuff is to make sure that they have the correct GST number and that is legit. You do reference you know, background check as to when they give you the address that they're at, make sure that you look it up to see that they actually are there.
and
Um,
also yeah,
go
and
ahead.
also sometimes have the review, you know, whether they have their website nowadays, how many review they have, and you know.
Yeah, well, nowadays it's very difficult to tell what's real and what's not. There's a
True.
lot of companies that have websites out there and it's not a real company.
Okay.
So you really do have to do your research and due diligence as to if these people, the contractors, are a legit company. So, and when you give them a payment, make sure that you get receipts. You know, you always want to have it that's tracked, right? So
And
where it's going, that way you're covering yourself.
so Becky, so we pay deposit 10% initially to start the work, but as you have hit a certain milestone, certain completion, and then you pay. Is it a formal in your industry? Do you normally pay and hold back the last 10% before they completely the work and do all the snagging before you
Yeah.
pay?
Yes, typically it is 10% that you hold back until it's completely completed.
Right. Yeah, it yeah, Yeah, it is it's quite important. I myself I use it a lot, and sometimes a lot of people and I think important to get references,
Yeah,
and important to talk to a lot of people. You're planning, you've done all your research, and also sometimes people think get a contractor in and you want something different. So later you think, oh, maybe I changed this. So what they quote, sometimes you have to think about extra 10% to just in case the risk of over running it, over budget.
yeah, it's the unforeseen things that that 10% is usually covering. And you just want to make sure that you're not being taken advantage of when things are coming up, because you want to make sure that when you decide that you want to hire that contractor, the contractor, you want to have another meeting and you want to go over the estimate to make sure that he is for sure that that is the full estimate, that there will be, as close as possible, that no, there's no unforeseen things, or no surprises, I should say. That way it does keep it within that 10%.
Yes, I also I think myself sometimes I put, for example, I got a quote of 3,000 or 5,000, $3,000. I put another. I make sure my bank have an extra that 1,000 extra just in case everything, so you don't
Yeah.
you feel more comfortable and less stressed about
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
The contractor um, should be giving you updates every time he's in your house.
yes,
Okay, as to what he's done, what he's completed, what his goal is the next day, and then what he hasn't completed, he should be telling all those things by the end of the day. And then the next day, like for myself, I usually go in and give that report end of the day, and then beginning of the day, I tell them, this is my plan. This is what I'm
yes,
going to do. And this is and then end of the day, I would tell them again as to what I completed and not completed. So that way, that they're actually doing their work. They're not
yes.
just showing up, and making it look good. So just so that you know that your money is actually being spent well.
And also should be able to tell us that what expected to be due the next, when you expected it done and when the next stage, and
Exactly.
um
Yeah.
because it's a partnership, it's hand in
Yes.
hand, and
Yeah.
sometimes I feel like just the present, just I know ladies work and sometimes you won't be, but just the present in the house to keep an eye on stuff.
Yeah, well, this is where, for my own company is I normally I always, always take pictures during the course of me being in the house, and during the renovations. I would send you pictures. If you're not home, I'd send you pictures so that you know what's been done. That way it gives you a peace of mind that things were moving along.
Yes, that's a very good idea. Nowadays so easy, and it would nice to have the contractor like you taking pictures if I'm not in the home, I'm working, or come in early before I go to work to have a meeting
Yes.
before you start on. Yeah.
Yes. So then it just, the communication is really, really important to have with the contractor. Not that you're nagging at them, but you're making sure that you're on the same page and moving the project forward. Even if you were to request from the contractor a project schedule, you know, the timelines, when do they expect things done by a certain time frame? That would help you out. And then that will also keep them accountable.
Yeah. Becky, the other ladies want to ask, just see, well, how do you get all these company information? Do you have a certain website to check, like Small Business Bureau or something to check
Yeah.
that?
The Better Business Bureau is one. You're looking online, just looking up the name, because there's a lot of information you can get by just typing in their name, their own name, and also their company name. And you can call the government as well.
Right. Thank you, Betty. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And this is the last slide. And the other thing that I want to ask Betty is, sometimes this is the big general contractor that you do like extension or basement or whatever, big contractor, like the ladies doing smaller contractor, like maybe some plumbing job or a roofing job or just a small electrical repair. The same process, thinking process and planning, same
Yes.
applied.
Yes.
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 And
it's not foolproof, but it helps alleviate, lessen the mishaps or miscommunication or, you know, the unknown.
yeah, and also the qualification. I mean, we will next session module we have electrical. Dominic will talk about you hire the right people because to qualify, because like particular plumbing, electrical, or even roofing, you know, certain jobs, you know, they have the trade qualification.
Yes, roofing is now being controlled. They weren't in the past. So also when you're, I don't know, if you do your background check on a lot of these companies, that would alleviate a lot of things.
Right. I am going to stop the recording and open it up to a Q&A questions. Okay, ladies. So let me stop that.